This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Station.
Game one of the second round tips off tonight, and what better way to watch it than with Carboni's Pizza? Visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for the Minnesota playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's today at carbonispizza.com.
It's like, hello?
Back to the Common program, Tenna B, along with Mark Rosen.
Welcome back, Tenna.
What's going on, Rosie?
Everything, man. It's a beautiful week in the Twin Cities and beautiful night at Target Center. I mean, you can't get any better than this. I mean, waiting a long time.
I was gone for 5 days,
yeah.
And all of a sudden I come back and it's 80 degrees, and I look at the forecast and it's like between 70 and 80 for the
every day.
And I swear my grass in my front yard grew like 5 inches while I was gone.
I'm going to get a ding for this, but we were out with Frank and Amelia the other night, and they were
That's
talking.
A double ding.
That's a double ding, but they were talking about visiting the Home Depot over here, I think in the West End area, across the street. And they said you'd think they were giving away plants, just for nothing. I mean, he said, I've never seen the parking lot so full. I mean, everyone was out. Everyone.
Perfect time to do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, you get cooped up a lot from the wintertime, even though our winter was, I think, relatively mild. And, but yeah, everyone's out doing what they have to do to get their gardens ready. And speaking of gardening.
Weather talk?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about Frank and Amelia.
That's what you missed. Yeah, he got dinged.
I got dinged because we were out there talking about being over at Home Depot the other day, and it was like a parking lot at an arena. I mean, it was packed.
I described it, I went Saturday myself, I described it as Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport the day before Thanksgiving.
Really? Yeah, I believe
that's how many people were there.
Yeah,
it was literally
crazy.
packed. I've got a really good story about it one of these days, too, but I'm afraid I'd be arrested for shoplifting. But that's another story for another time.
It's all right.
So I go back during the break to get some maybe get some kind words from
The program director?
From the program director. Instead, he shows me an email where some guy sent it to him. Mm-hmm. It's time to put my, I'm a pompous derriere.
Okay.
He used a different word than that. I'll use derriere.
Wow. Okay.
My sarcastic, blah, blah, blah shtick, time to put me out to pasture.
He shared that with you.
And then he said, how rude it is that I eat on the air. And it's like, that's Tenebee's fault. If he asked longer questions, if his questions were longer, I wouldn't be caught chewing. All of a sudden, I'm in the middle of chewing my food, and he goes, comment your thoughts. And I'm like, well, let me finish, swallow my food.
Sure. 5-3-4.
So I'm blaming Tenebee. How good is that?
Throwing him under the bus.
That's my pomposity at its best.
Yeah, you are.
Here's what I'm going to do for you, though.
Okay.
That's the kind of guy I am.
All right.
We're going to make a bet, and I'm going to let you take the Golden State Warriors. Go ahead.
I don't want. First of all, I didn't realize we had a bet. But here's your $6.
Well, thank you.
I had no idea we had a bet on the Lakers. No, I'm not taking Golden State. There's no way.
Well, wait a minute now.
What do you mean?
Didn't think the Wolves would get by the Lakers. How can you think they're going to get by Golden State?
Question of thinking the Wolves were going to get
you bet money.
$2 in a fun bet with you, and I bet the Wild were going to lose. You never bring that up. How I picked Vegas to beat the Wild. You were all over the Wild.
Yeah, you did. We got jobbed by the officials.
Well, no, I didn't.
No, the Wild did, I think.
No, they did not.
I thought they got jobbed.
Well, they played probably about as well as they could play, and I know they had their news conference today, and that's a whole other story. No, I think I think we're off to obviously, you guys talked about a very compelling, unexpected start, and that's all it is, a start to the semifinals of both the East and the West with what happened last night with Boston breaking the Wolves record, missing 45 three-pointers. 45-3 they missed, and they still should have won. I don't see the Knicks winning another game, but that's just me. But then the Denver game, I came close to turning that game off against OKC about 4 times. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a long night tonight with the Wolves game. OKC's going to finish them off. Denver's playing as hard as they can, and every single time it was about to hit the remote, they'd cut it to 4. They'd cut it to 5, whatever it might be. And then they kept it hanging around. And then I finally, so I got to watch the end of this thing. And
you stayed to the bitter end.
I did watch Chet Holmgren try to shoot free throws with both hands around his throat.
That was not good.
No. Plus, the OKC's strategy about fouling right away. There's a lot of things you could second guess, but.
Well, they've done it all year, is what I read.
Well.
And it generally, I understand the logic that one shot, if they make it's worth 3, they get 2 shots and they're worth just 1 apiece. But it did seem it added so many possessions and
correct.
In one of the stories I read, this made sense to me, and because I guess I hadn't given it that much thought, but generally the more possessions you have, there's just a greater chance for the team that's trailing. Something's going to go in their favor, and that's exactly what happened last night.
Yeah,
that was a game that, see if they end up losing the series, they'll look back on that and go, that was when we let get away.
Yeah, I mean, and this is something that has been talked about. OKC, glided their way basically. We've had this discussion in other sports when a team kind of runs away with its division or whatever it might be. All of a sudden, they're faced with having to ratchet up the emotion playing in a playoff series, when they really kind of just was putting it in coasting fashion for the last how many games of the season. Now they're faced with some real obstacles in a veteran team like Denver, and you're facing arguably the MVP, the 2 MVPs in the league, really on the court last night with the Joker and his supporting cast, who the Timberwolves are very familiar with. New head coach, that was a whole thing, but they deserved it, and they earned with Russell Westbrook even contributing. So that was fun to watch, and now the road teams have. So much for home court advantage. And now it's up to the Wolves to hold serve tonight. And what I really do characterize this as a huge first game, because especially after what we watched last night, for the Wolves to establish themselves as that team against Golden State. I think this whole thing, Golden State's going to be tired. No, they're not going to be tired. You talk about that all the time. I know Steph Curry, ran 2 miles the other day in a game, and they got guys who are a little longer in the tooth with Jimmy Buckets and Draymond, of course, but I don't think they're going to be tired. I think they'll be just fine. They had their stay at the Four Seasons. They got some good rest and whenever.
Well, somebody wrote, Did you just mention this? Because I wasn't listening. I was waiting for you.
That's okay.
Somebody wrote in the lead up to it, might have been Sue-Ann, of the reasons why he's verbally slapping himself on the back because he picked the Wolves to beat the Lakers, which I did as well. And I don't verbally slap myself on the back.
Never.
About it. I just don't do those kinds of things. It's not about me.
No.
It's about the Wolves. But he gave a litany of reasons why, and I tended to agree with most of them, of why the Wolves will win the series. And one was Houston had to fly, or Golden State had to fly from Houston up to Minneapolis. You don't do that. I mean, especially when it's a 2.5-hour flight. They left Sunday night. The game's Tuesday. Yeah. Do you think, are you going to watch that game tonight? Let's say the Wolves win late. You're going to go, that 2.5-hour plane flight, that's what did it. That's what stopped Golden State from winning because they were on the plane too long. It's a charter jet with seats removed, and they're having a feast of food on there. It's just like, don't go with the travel thing.
They didn't travel back to Golden State and fly back here. They came right here. In fact, if they were talking about that, Steve Kerr was talking about.
But that's my whole point. Even if they went to Golden State and came in, it's flying on a plane. It's not that. It's not like they're flapping their arms and creating turbulence. The jet does all the work.
No, theoretically, you could say that series could have taken something out of them. I just don't see that being tired.
No.
I mean, sometimes.
If that's your excuse, that's a loser's lament.
And talked about it, I think, I read a quote from him about last year's Western Conference Championship series against Dallas, where he said his legs were just kind of dead. Now, that's after a cumulative thing. And Golden State just did have a 7-game series, and it's possible, as we saw with the Lakers. The Lakers had some horrible fourth quarters. Now, was that because of the age of the respective players that wore down? LeBron had bad fourth quarters.
Well, maybe in one case when he played all 5 guys and never brought him off the floor.
It could have been the case.
That could be it.
Yeah, I don't think Golden State will be the case. But anyway, we know beyond that, we can break down all the matchups. Who's going to guard Steph? Who's going on Jaden McDaniels?
You think it's going to be McDaniels?
Yeah. That's kind of the way they go with him. It's 6'8" guy and chasing Steph around. Because Steph is so good without the basketball in his hand. And Jaden's a guy that, as Ant says, never gets tired. And he's probably... And the key thing for Jaden, as we saw in the Lakers, he and Nas, they both... Julius Randle, you got to keep those guys out of foul trouble. That's the big thing, especially Jaden. You got to get him into a rhythm and hopefully keep him on the court, because if he gets 2 quick fouls or 3 fouls in the first half, he's you don't see him then until third quarter sometime. So, yeah, there's a lot of strategic things that are happening tonight, but I just think the Wolves are better suited in this series to kind of finish off Golden State. And it's going to be fun. It's got all the dynamics that, that's why I think most of us, I think fans were hopeful that Golden State was going to win that 7th game after it looked like they were dead in the water. Came back and took care of business convincingly against Houston, and we saw Curry at his best. Draymond can control himself. That's always a big if. Something will push his button and he'll get a technical, and he's
Ant too.
Well, Ant to a certain extent, yeah.
He can. He's been better.
But he's more directed at the officials, where Draymond is more confrontational with other players.
I think he tries to get them going. He tries to
gets under their skin.
That's what he's trying to do. Matter of fact, he'll do that to Gobert early and often.
Yeah, probably will.
He's going to try to get Gobert going.
Much like the Lakers, they don't have a traditional, big man. They don't. If you watch,
he plays bigger than his size.
He's had a hell of a year defensively.
God, I love saying that.
No, he does, but. It's all there for it. So it's game one, but it's a big one to kind of put them.
Subplots and storylines aside, do you think Houston would have given the Wolves a tougher?
I don't know.
There were people that thought so. They thought younger, more athletic, really good defensively, a physical club, sort of like the Wolves, more so than your cunning and guile kind of.
I kind of incline to think that way, but then I look at the resume of Golden State, starting with their excellent head coach Steve Kerr, they've been battle tested. They have rings. They've had it all. And Curry, just wants more, and he wants more.
And Jimmy doesn't have one. He wants one desperately.
Absolutely. So, I think the dynamics involved with Golden State, because they were out. They were on the outside looking in. They were not going anywhere this year until they made that trade.
Well, there was a story today. Jerry Zagoda, Fisher Factory West, Kerr available video call yesterday. And, he couldn't say enough about Butler. About how we were dead in the water until he got here. We weren't even going to make the playoffs. And they've been, 28-5 since. And his confidence rubs off on the other guys, and it's been a really nice acquisition. That's why we had talked about it earlier. I got a lot of pushback again from people on text messages. I like Jimmy Butler. I like his attitude. I like his approach to the game. There are still people in this town that, because of the way he left, they feel bitter. But if you read the Chris Hine piece today, and he was exactly right, the Wolves have become, I think he was spot on with this story. The Wolves have become the kind of team Jimmy Butler wanted them to be. That's
a very good point by Chris.
And he wanted them to be physical. He wanted them to be tenacious, play defense. And when he was here with the Wolves at the time, he didn't get that. He just didn't. And somebody else, was chiding me about my admiration for Towns and saying he was a heart and soul of this team last year. I really thought he was. I think that other players rallied around him because of all he had been through here.
Right.
And and some of the other off court stuff that had happened to him over the last couple of years, and the idea that because and Towns probably wasn't a very good defensive player, but people change over the years, and Towns now has become. I'm not saying he should be Defensive Player of the Year, but I think he's better defensively than he was. I think people develop and get better.
We can talk more about it. We're going to break, but Butler's biggest beef too was with management. He wanted that max contract, and he didn't get it, and then he soured on everything, and that.
Well, I will say this. That's what people bring up, and I do think it's true, but I'll give you a Kirk Cousins. It's not the money what it represents, and I really believe that was a lot of it with Jimmy, because it's like, I'm better than both these guys. I play defense all the time. I give it 100% effort. I got two guys that are real passive.
Yeah.
And they won't listen to me and get to be that tough, tenacious, physical team that we need. So I think it wasn't only so much the money, but what it represented. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Tennessee's got bonus bucks keyword from BigDeck.com.
The Fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword HAPPY at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is HAPPY. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Man.
Couple 13-14 pass Common Man program. We're going to dive deep into this on Tee to Green, but I just thought it was interesting. You saw how well Scotty Scheffler played right over the weekend.
I put it on for a little bit, and it was like watching.
He was 31 under. He was 31 under par.
Yeah, I saw.
Here was his rankings last week. First in proximity, first in total birdies, first in par breakers, first in 3-putt avoidance, first in putting average, first in It's one after another after another. I mean, with that kind of number, 31 under par, you can imagine. And that's why they say about Scotty, when he is on, he is the best player in the world. That's why he's number one ranked player in the world to this day, even though has he won once this year? I don't even recall.
I'm not sure.
But I will tell you this, when he is on, and usually the thing with him, if the putting's good, and obviously it was here, he was first in total birdies and first in 3-putt avoidance and first in putting average. When he is putting well, he's virtually unbeatable. He's that good. It'll be interesting to see what happens at the PGA Championship coming up in a couple weeks.
Next week. I don't know. I can't remember what. Maybe you do. The lowest total score here at the TPC, because the pros usually attack that.
Oh yeah, well. It's low. It's been in the low. I don't know about over 4 days. I don't know what the total is, but I mean they can shoot in the low 60s here for sure.
Well, again, when you watch a tournament with the prestige, obviously is the Masters, and you see these guys get in trouble, and we all enjoy watching guys get in and out of trouble. Look at Rory. But when you watch, if you happen to watch 1 minute, that's all I could really watch. I mean, it truly is. There's no challenge for the best players when they're playing like that on a course like that. I mean, and Scheffler is just automatic. He can't get in trouble, and if he does, he'll have to settle for a par once in a while. It just doesn't happen very often in a tournament like that.
We didn't talk to you. I talked to this with yesterday and again with 10 to B, but I want to get your thoughts as well. It sounds when they talked to Kirill Kaprizov, it sounds like he said, yeah, he goes, I like it here. And he goes, we'll see. He didn't make any real commitment. Right, he can't. Right. But it seems like, and then 10 to B said Guerin today, everybody seems to feel like this isn't going to be much of an issue, that he's not going to go, maybe I've had second thoughts. And I think it's obviously every franchise and every sport needs to have their A guy, right. And he obviously is the A guy. And it looks by all accounts, he'll be signed. He might even say, he said, they asked him, would you like to sign before this season starts? He says, yeah, but we'll see. So right. I kind of get the feeling he probably will.
Yeah, it's interesting of Michael Russo, who covers hockey like no one's business. I read just an excerpt from what he was writing about that. He threw out the cautionary tale that Kirill came here later. I mean, for a guy that he wasn't 21, 22 years old. How old is it? 10 is Kirill right now? 28, 29.
Yeah.
And Russo, I think, is a little concerned about on the core injuries he had, what he's coming off of. It's a rhetorical question, because of course they're going to re-sign him, but how much money do you want to allocate to a guy? And I don't know how you look at starting with the Ovechkins of the world and going down the Crosbys and going down, to the younger players, but I still think he's in the prime of his career. I would like to interpret it that way. I know Bill Guerin talked today, and they're shocking. He talked about getting more help at center. Their defense seems to be fine. They're not going to make any big changes there, but I don't see any reason. Looking at the way Kirill performed in the playoffs in particular, he was, he and Boldy and Joel Eriksson-Ek, who's coming off his own injury, were clearly the best players on the Wild. But I don't think he's not going anywhere. I think he does like it here a lot and wants to stay here at the right price. With the right prices.
Well, the right price.
One more year to go.
Yeah, right. They'll give him.
He'll get paid
as much as that.
Yeah, they need to. But he needs to.
I think the team saw how important he was to the team this year.
Yeah, I think clearly, given his absence and then how
he was a top 5 player in the league for the first 2 months of the year.
Yeah, he was a leading scorer.
You got to pay those guys.
After he was hurt for 2 months, he was still leading the team in goals, I think, for quite a while. So, yeah.
I guess the biggest question,
and the rest of the team just played better when he came back. I mean, the guys are slotted in the right positions, but it's a confidence of what Kirill gives them.
Yes.
Well, for me, what I take from that was encouraging, because when talking about it with 10 to B, and he's got a great hockey mind.
He does,
and he felt, I thought, unless I'm taking 10 out of context, and I've done it many, many times, but he basically felt like the one thing is, if Kirill, he was going to get the money no matter what. If he believes he's got a team that can win, then he's going to want to stay. If he doesn't think the team can win, he's going to want to leave. And from what he said yesterday, he says he likes the way it looks here. So I believe, at least from what he said, you can always change your mind, he feels like the team here can win. And that's what is important. You're going to get 14, 15 million wherever you go. It's not like only the Wild are going to give him 14, 15 and somebody else would give him half that. But if he looks at it and goes, well, I'm just going to be playing for a team that's not very good. Most of the great players don't want to do that.
And the cautionary tale is we've been hearing and waiting for like 8 years or whatever it is to get out from under the Parise Suter contracts, and all of a sudden the dollars are going to be floating down from heaven into Bill Guerin's pocket that he can go out and get with whomever he wants. And, of course, it's not that way because he has to re-sign other players as well. But to do what it takes to get, I mean, at the least – to get out of the first round, and that's hardly an aspiration that should be at the focal point for the a guy as competitive as Bill Guerin is. He knows what it's like to win a cup and to be involved in teams like that. And this fan base continues to be extremely loyal, and it's got to hurt because year after year after year, it doesn't matter if they're playing Las Vegas, the Blackhawks, the Colorado, St. Louis, they seem to meet their demise in the first round, and now that narrative just has to change next year. Much the way we waited for the Wolves to finally break through, but most of those years the Wolves weren't even making the playoffs. So now it's a whole different animal. Now the expectations are that Timberwolves are favored. I mean, who I never would have imagined saying out loud the Timberwolves are favored to beat Golden State, still with that core for the most part. And now they added Jimmy Butler. They're favored to beat them in this series.
And you think they're going to win?
I think they're going to win the series, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, you said you were going to wait, and you go ahead. Here's my $6.
Oh, yeah. That's right, $6.
Double or nothing.
Yeah, we made a bet in which...
I don't even remember that.
Oh, I remember quite well.
Yeah. I had the Lakers.
Yeah, you said Lakers would go deeper.
When did I?
Because you bought
back
in.
Into
Here's what
LeBron
happened.
And
Here's what happened
in the regular season.
Here's what happened.
Yeah,
you bought into the prevailing wisdom,
right?
That with Doncic now, such a great player, how could he have traded him? And I said, whoa. He's fat and out of shape and doesn't play defense, and defense wins championships. I'll take Jimmy Butler. I'll take Butler added to Golden State more than I would take Doncic added to the Lakers. And guess what? I was right.
Well, all you can do is give me a chance to get back. Oh, it's up to you. Whatever you want.
Well, see, here's the deal. Like you say, you go, well, it's just, I really thought the Wolves are going to beat the Lakers, but I just...
No, I know it was a fun... But I
so
said
for
what
me,
I
it's
said.
like, I think the Wolves are going to win the series, so why would I make the bet?
I don't know, because you like Jimmy Butler.
Who doesn't like Jimmy? Well,
a lot of people don't like Jimmy Butler for what he did to burn down franchises. Yeah.
Don't look the franchise burned down. The franchise is in pretty good shape right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, Miami. I don't mean here necessarily. And none of those players that played on the Wolves were even here when Jimmy Butler was here. So it's not like when he's going to get booed tonight off the court, and he doesn't care. Bring it on.
Draymond's the one who should be getting booed.
Well, they'll boo him too. That's just the way it goes. That's sports.
I guess it takes the esoteric approach to understand. We'll take a break. We'll come back with one more segment to go with Mark Rosen here on The Fan. Final segment of the program today are that. I'm Comedy's 10 to B's, the legendary Mark Rosen. It sounds like your seating arrangements for tonight's game is fluid.
It's a good word for
it. You live a charmed life.
I come on.
10 to B, they're fluid now. It was media section. Now
probably
you never know.
You're a Richard.
You might be. I guarantee you'll be sitting right next to Glenn Taylor tonight.
No, I will.
No?
That I can guarantee you. Glenn's on the other side. Next, he and Becky still have
I
their
expect
seats
they might have an extra one
next
for you.
to the team. No, A-Rod and Lori are on the opposite side.
Right.
So
you might be over there with A-Rod.
Right now I'm in the media area. That's all I know.
You're so good. Oh, man.
How about the Twins?
Oh, I did want to say that. You like this club now, don't you?
I happen...
They take 2 or 3 from the Bo Sox.
Growing up, I don't know how you were. When I used to watch, the Twins would be on 50 games. I think was it WTCN? I don't know. And
about 50 games a year.
Yeah, 50 games. And to me, and the game that still breaks my heart more than any other Twins, we've had Viking stuff we can go over depending on which heartbreak hurts you the most. But for me, the Twins season in 67, when there was no wild card or anything.
No.
Win the league and then go on from there. And they had a 1-game lead going into the weekend against your Tigers.
There was 4 teams that had a chance. Red Sox, Twins, Tigers, and Angels also had a chance.
I forgot about the Angels.
There were 4 teams that had a chance.
And all the Twins had to do was win 1 of 2 that weekend. And they had their ace, Jim Cott, pitching on Saturday.
I called him Kitty
Cott, and who was one of my favorites, and just one of my favorite people, period. And he hurt his arm like in the 5th inning or something. He was pitching a great game, hurt his elbow, had to come out, and the Red Sox rallied and won. And then, or was that on Sunday? They lost both, and I was crushed. But there's something about watching, Harmon hit one over the Green Monster, and just, as only Harmon could. I mean, not the only one, but he hit some prodigious home runs at Fenway Park. But there's something about that ballpark. I've been there, I had a chance to go there once, but just to watch the games on TV, because it's still, Yankee Stadium is now new Yankee Stadium. Wrigley is still Wrigley, although
and Fenway is still Fenway.
Fenway's still Fenway, but Fenway still has the quirkiness to it, and so I think Sunday's game I probably watched almost from start to finish. It was entertaining as I'll get up, and the Twins had to hang on and win, but they did win 2 out of 3, and now
they're starting to gel.
Well, I mean, we'll see. They got Royce Lewis back in the lineup tonight. Willie Castro's back, which is going to help place, I think, second base. They sent Julian down, who's not doing the job, but more importantly, Royce not only has to get back in the lineup, but he has to produce. I mean, it's his time now. He can add a lot of spark to that team, and Pablo Lopez is starting tonight against Baltimore, and they're home all week against Baltimore, then San Francisco. And we'll see what they draw with, again, an earlier start, not just because of the Timberwolves, but that's where they are right now. But yeah, I mean, they're getting some contributions from players that are starting to. I mean, even Correa's hitting the ball a little bit better right now. So we'll see. They got a long way.
Let me ask you a question.
Get back to 500 before you take them seriously.
Let me ask you a question. So, is he going to be in the lineup tonight?
I haven't seen. Okay, let's say assume he's. I didn't bring him up to.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do you think he'll be in the lineup?
He's batting 5th.
Do you think he'll be in Do you think he'll be in the lineup
third base
tomorrow?
I thought I said he was DHing tonight.
Oh, is it DHing? Okay.
Do you think he'll be in the lineup tomorrow?
Yes.
So you don't think he'll get injured? I think there's a better odds he gets injured tonight.
Bite your tongue.
Well, what? Sorry. That's all I got to go by.
No.
Will he be in the lineup 2 weeks from now?
Now, that's a whole other question.
Well, I'm asking you, do you think he'll be in the lineup 2 weeks?
Yes, I think he'll be in the lineup 2 weeks from now.
Do you think that Royce Lewis will stay healthy enough to be in the lineup 2 weeks from now? So I'm not convinced he will be.
Yeah.
Well, depends on how well he's hitting, because the better he's hitting, the more likely he's to be running the bases.
Yeah, that's correct.
I can't even comprehend how anybody could do that again at that age, to pull a muscle like that. But, yeah, he's hopefully he can play in pretty much every day. And as Tennis said, I guess he's DHing tonight, so they want to put him in the field.
How about your Frost Club? You see, they look like they looked as though that they were going to miss the playoffs. They look like they were dead in the water, or I guess not water, frozen
ice.
Water. Yeah, and they rallied and they made postseason play now, and they have remember they're the only world champion women's hockey team ever. I mean, they've only played one season, and they are the defending world champions.
Is that the sport?
And they were the last team to get in last year. They won it as the 4 seed.
Yeah, didn't they lose a bunch of games in a row at the end? That's what I thought.
Was it the first round series or their second series? They were down. I think at the first series they were down like 3-1, if I recall.
I think I heard you. Is that the sport where you could pick your opponent in the playoffs? Or am I missing something? Is that a different sport in the playoffs? You were talking about Tenna yesterday.
Yeah,
because you were saying that'd be a great idea for the NHL. Like wherever you make the playoffs.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know if that. I don't know what other sport it would be. It's certainly not the WNBA, but I don't know. But it's interesting. Yeah. Taylor Heisey. That's the only name I know. It's Parker Fox's gal.
There was a time when you cared more.
It's not a question of caring. I mean,
no, it's not Parker Fox's gal. He's Taylor Heisey's guy. That's the difference. That's the way that needs to be worded.
You're 100% correct.
Yes. But,
he's going on her coattails.
That's what Tom Kelly said to me once. It was so good. I've told this story before, but it's worth telling again because it's on the same topic. So TK is a member at Hillcrest Golf Club, and I was at the time as well.
Golf is dark out there all the time. Yeah.
So TK was a member out of Hillcrest Golf Club, as was I. And so one time I brought the Secretary of Nightlife, Pat Pohl, out to play golf with me. And Pat had been the starting center fielder for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. John Anderson called him a gamer, hell of a player. And Pat went to Hastings High School. And he's not in the Hastings High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and I will not rest until he gets in there. But we get to the driving range, and there's TK, and Pat goes, come and introduce me to TK. So I go, TK, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. I go, this is Pat Pohl. He played with Terry Steinbach at you. And he goes, you mean Steinbach played with him?
Brilliant.
Yeah. In other words, well, give
him some credit.
Well, yeah, because he was on that team too, and he had every much to do with this. But I just loved it. TK said,
"You didn't miss a beat."
You mean Steinbach played with him?
Yeah, he had a way of always staying. He and Bud always had a way of staying a step ahead of the conversation in their own way. TK, I put in that same category.
Do you have any optimism with this Twins team going forward? Because it's been. I mean, there was a story in one of the fish wraps a couple of days ago. It was before I think the first Boston win, or maybe after it, in which Falvey was. He said this has been extremely disappointing the way the season has started. He didn't try to. I didn't read the piece. I just saw the headline, so I don't know if he tried to sugarcoat it, but the headline sure didn't seem like he did. What is there? What gives you optimism if you have any?
Starting pitching staff. I think their starting pitching staff with the guy who's starting tonight, Lopez and Joe Ryan, who's been looking really good.
Very good.
Bailey Ober. Paddock has been up and down. I mean, I'm not sure he's the guy, but he's going to fill a role. And they got a couple other people as well. And the bullpen.
But your guys, Zebby Matthews and David Festa.
Yeah, they're waiting. They're
Richardson
waiting.
Woods.
Yeah, Richardson Woods. Forgot about him. He's okay. Usually worth 5 innings, but I think their starting staff in their division gives them a decent shot at competing. If waiting for the lineup to really come around, and now that they have again in theory getting Royce back and Willie Castro, who's a valuable player on this team, he can play so many positions and got a good bat, and I like. What I've seen out of, Bader, France, some of the younger guys are starting to hit a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, I think they because of the division they're in and because of their starting pitching. But they have to get on a roll. You can't have a series like you had in Cleveland. I mean, you got to win 6 out of 7, 9 out of 11, something like that. And this might be the week, starting over the weekend in Boston and capitalizing on it this week, against Baltimore and then San Francisco coming to town to kind of make some hay maybe and get on a roll a little bit. Because, I mean, I don't have any aspiration. They're not a championship team, but they're certainly capable of getting back into the conversation in this division. It's crazy not to think that they can't.
Yeah. How many games out are they right now? Is it 6?
Something like that.
6, 7, 5?
I always look at the marker being, you got to get back to playing 500, and then we can start talking about what direction this team is going to go.
I think you got to be knee high by the 4th of July.
They're 7 out, but only 4.5 out of the wild card.
See?
Yeah. There's always the optimist.
Let me go back to the Wolves tonight.
Sure.
You'll hear that game on this radio station.
Yep,
the opening tap is scheduled for 8:30 this evening.
More like 8:30.
What do you think, you're Big Ben?
No, I'm just saying, everybody always says, I don't know why they even bother saying 8:30, because it's 8:40, 8:45. You're right, you did say scheduled.
Scheduled for 8:30.
Yes.
I'm not going to hold you to this because nobody knows. You don't have a crystal ball. But what do you think the storyline is going to be? Is it going to be Ant goes off? Is it going to be Draymond melts down? Does Curry start out with a great game and score 40 and they pull the first win? What would he? Does Julius Randle continue to play the way he has been and contribute offense, defense, special teams? What would
you just laid out the major storylines? I think if you're going to look for one under the radar a little bit, and I mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation, is because when he's active and he's staying out of foul trouble, Jaden McDaniels, because Ant is not afraid to, as many times he comes down and just jacks up a 3-pointer, he's also looking for his teammates. And if Jaden can get into the flow, he's going to use a lot of energy, run around with Steph Curry. But I think Jaden is a huge plus for this basketball team. He's got to make that corner 3, drive the lane because he's really good at that. Again, at 6'8", he's got long arms. He's got an advantage over almost anyone else in Golden State. And with all the conversation about Ant and Julius Randle and even Gobert to a certain extent, I think Jaden McDaniels is the key guy because of what he has to do defensively, first of all, but more importantly, offensively, to get into the flow of the game and not get a couple of silly fouls that are going to put him on the bench early on, because that forces Finch to to change the lineup a little bit, and obviously DiVincenzo will get in there, and Randall's been a monster. He's been terrific, but I just like Jaden McDaniels' opportunity tonight in this series. We've seen it. We saw it against the Lakers early on. He can get on a roll and really have a huge impact on this series. To answer your question, but of course Ant's going to be. He's the guy,
right?
It's.
But the reason I ask is just because he is the guy, the other team might decide.
Yeah.
As many teams have tried. They've tried to say, we're not going to let Ant beat us. If somebody else beats us,
right.
God love you. Take the W and we'll go our merry way. So teams have tried to take Ant, and that's worked sometimes for teams. As far as Ant hasn't been the reason the Wolves have won, but the Wolves have still won because of other people like Naz Reid or McDaniels
right.
or Nah, other guys rising up and playing. Gobert will win a game. Randall, DiVincenzo. So that's why I don't know the approach. Do you say, well, we'll let Ant have whatever he wants? As the other guys, we won't let do any trouble, or do you just go with the flow of the game?
Steve Kerr knows him obviously very, very well from his Olympic experience this year with Steph and the rest of the gang, and he just kind of shrugs his shoulder and goes, "Look, Ant's going to get his points. He's too good at breaking down defenses. He's going to take an X number of 3-pointers, but he's also very capable of getting inside the defense and getting to the foul line, getting to the lane. And he's got a myriad of moves. So he's going to get his 30-plus points, I think, tonight. But it's still going to be up to what should still be a deeper, more talented overall team that the Wolves do have right now. It's just a fact. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but that's why you got to stay on the floor. You can't get in early foul trouble and force them to get out of that flow. And we saw that happen with both. And Naz has been hot and cold. What kind of a role he can get on. He's not afraid to shoot. He can go 0 for 7 and 0 for 8, and he'll still he's got an open 3. He's going to take it. But there's a lot of intriguing matchups, and Draymond and
Gobert.
Gobert. It's.
Do you think that could right away in game, sometime during game one, that could come to a head? Do you think we could see some extracurricular activity where they're bumping and grinding and really going at it, then words are exchanged, it gets testy, maybe some pushing and shoving, separation of players like we saw before?
I think it's a possibility, not to the extent they had before, but Draymond's really good at trying to get under people's skin, opponent's skin, and he knows what he's doing. He's very good at it, and Gobert normally keeps his cool, but he's throwing an elbow or two. There's going to be a lot of gamesmanship going on, a lot of jawing going on. They're constantly going on with these guys, but you got to keep your cool, and Draymond knows that. He doesn't do them any good. As good a defensive player as he is, he can't be picking up technicals and getting himself in foul trouble early on. And no one's better at, being that vociferous at the officials than Draymond Green. He's enjoyable to watch. But it's got a lot of there's so many subplots to this game and this series, and it kind of goes with Jimmy Butler and his first game here ever since the Wolves traded him back in, was it 2018? I think what it was.
For me, the most fascinating part to watching the game will I see you in the media section or will I see you on the floor court side? That's for me what I'm most fascinated with.
Okay.
Yes,
you want me to let you know or?
No, I just want to look.
Okay, I won't.
Teneby, isn't that for you the most fascinating thing about tonight's game? Will Rosie be courtside or will he be in the media section?
I love my media seat.
Well, I know you do. There's nothing wrong with it.
No,
And when he's courtside, there's no way he would find a celebrity and take a selfie with him.
I won't tonight. No.
Are you sure?
No.
You're not sure, right?
No. I mean, everybody keeps waiting. I mean, keep getting this question like, hey, do you think KG will ever come back? If the Wolves, imagine if the Wolves played the Celtics in the finals, is KG going to come back? That's what, but until the sale is done, I don't think KG wants to be in the same building as Glenn Taylor. I just don't see it happening. Yeah. And it would send everybody into orbit if KG showed up all of a sudden.
You'd take a selfie with KG, right? The kid?
Would shy away from it, wouldn't it? We go way back when he used to come on Rosen Sports Sunday and
I remember those days.
Do little cooking segments with Sam Mitchell. Yeah. He used to come down and do the show once in a while.
I did too. Anytime.
I know you do. Anytime I was in a pinch, I'd call Common like a 10:15.
Yeah, think about that.
Can you get down here in 20 minutes? One of my guests couldn't make it.
Think about that, Teneby. The only way I got on was as a fill-in.
That's not true.
I was fill-in guy.
No.
Hey, Common, I'm desperate. Johnny Randall's out. Or whoever's out. Can you come on down? And you know what, Teneby? Always to the rescue. And I didn't really want to.
You were handsomely rewarded for it.
But I went just.
Right.
Because of my friendship with you, because I don't want to be on TV. I don't like that extra added attention.
You didn't want to have
myself.
all that time, that precious airtime.
Teneby, I didn't want to have that extra attention to myself. Thank you. Appreciate that.
There's the rim shot. Well, I hope you're going to stay up and watch. I'm sure you will.
I said it. I mean, again, normally I say get to the Western Conference Finals and get back to me. But and I know this is only the semis, but because of all the plots and storyline that we've just talked about, not just today, but over the past few days when it sort of looked like that was going to be the matchup. I mean, Houston almost spoiled the party by winning 2 games in a row, but we kind of saw this coming, and to me, it was kind of what I wanted to see. And not just because of strength. There's 2 good teams, and Steph and Butler, and you got Ant and Randall's playing on. You have 2 really good teams going at it. I think.
Right, with the Lakers out and Clippers out. I mean, you get names that are out, and to have Golden State here. I mean, this is what first time they've ever met in the playoffs.
Yep.
It doesn't feels like it's a Western Conference Finals, but fortunately, it's not.
You won't see me tonight, but I'll see you one way or the other. I'm going to see you on TV. I'll be watching you, so we'll see you there.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock, correct?
Can't wait.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. Good to have you back as well, despite the fact that we didn't have a montage. But, somebody texted? They said, just wait till you get a load of the montage when this team really takes off. And then all apologies will be offered up to Teneby. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon. Big Ticket and JG there next year on The Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota! And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.